Last night, XRP was able to beat BlackRock in terms of market value. However, things have changed since then because the value has gone down. But come on, BlackRock, show some respect and acknowledgement by announcing a filing for a spot ETF. I'm not serious. But once more, it makes sense, right? Let me know in the comments below if you think that, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. There are a lot of different ETF reports from different AUM. And of course, you know that those asset managers are actually BlackRock's rivals. They should come and file for an ETF because it makes sense. However, welcome back to the Coins Alert channel. XRP troops. We're seeing a lot of red. For those of you who did watch my HBAR report, I'm sure you saw that. As we begin a new week, you can see that there is a lot of red across the board. When we talk about a new week, it's clear that today is the first day of the last week of August. That's something we need to remember, of course. But XRP is clearly responding to the market as a whole right now. As the price is down about 3% to 2.94, to put it another way, we're down about 0.4% in Bitcoin terms, worth wonder $74.9 billion. As a result, I said that we are currently trading lower than BlackRock's market value. Yes, we are experiencing a small correction, but I believe that we will soon make a new high because this is the third or fourth time we have briefly gone above BlackRock's value. Also, about 6.5 billion worth of XRP is traded every day. But before we go any further, as always, let's clear something up. Nothing on this station is meant to help you with your money. While investing in crypto, you should always be careful and do your own study. So, US bought Bitcoin ETFs saw outflows of 1.77 billion last week, which was the second biggest outflow since the ETF start. But, this doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised by this because of how the power is pulling everybody down. In other words, all the money that Bitcoin has made lately is going into other cryptocurrencies, especially Ethereum. If you look at it, you can see that a lot of whales are moving their Bitcoin to ETH. That's why this doesn't surprise me. But now, Bitcoin treasury company Metaplanet has said that they have been added to the FTSE Japan index because of their strong success in the second quarter. Adding a funnel will bring passive capital into Bitcoin markets and give regular investors a way to indirectly trade in Bitcoin. Also, David Bailey, Trump's crypto assistant, says there won't be another Bitcoin bear market for a few years. Very interesting. It's been every 4 years, but is Bitcoin breaking out of that mood? Are those big changes no longer going to happen? Some of me thinks it makes sense, but I'm also wary because of what we're seeing with the losses. Take a look at the flows, but I'm sure that the demand is greater than the supply. Actually, I think you guys already know this because I've said it a long time ago and you watch the channel every day. I've said for a long time that once banks get on board, Bitcoin's price will not seem as crazy. And now you're starting to hear David Bailey talk about that too. Time is clearly the most important thing. Again, though, let me know what you think in the comments. For the same reason, I think that projects that are clear about regulations and have demand from institutions other than Bitcoin might also do something similar. Of course, we'll wait and see what happens in terms of long-term opportunities. That's where your due research comes in, of course. But remember, a plan B is something you guys need to keep in mind at all times. If your goal is to lock in some profits this year, then stick to your plan and make sure you don't lose any earnings. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose if it's for the long run. Do your research and be careful. After that, the most important thing is to be patient. Let's see what Merrick says. The stablecoin market, which is worth about 300 billion right now, is expected to grow a lot, possibly hitting 1.2 trillion by 2028. That's only 2.5 years from now, and some say it could reach up to 2.8 trillion by 2028. The strong growth, supported by new rules like the US Genius Act and more fintech integration, shows that stablecoins are becoming an important part of global financial infrastructures. They play a big part in keeping financial systems stable and liquid in unstable environments. Utility and institutional demand will drive the next wave of adoption, and Ripple is in a great situation to take advantage of this growth. If you want to read this whole thing, go follow Merrick on X and you can kind of skim the tweet. Very, very helpful post. Nate says, you know what? I totally agree with this. I'm still amazed at how many trader investors love to insult crypto investors. To sum up, you could say, trade fight the traditional side of things. Those investors don't usually say nice things about crypto. And I think it's because they don't understand or are jealous of results. At this point, we can argue about who will win and lose, but crypto is here to stay. I don't know what else to say. I agree with it 100%. In the last 15 months, a lot of buyers have moved their money from the stock market into crypto. People I know personally never really looked into crypto before. And you know how your boy Coins Alert used to talk to his friends about how much I love crypto and other things. Now they're reaching out to me and saying, Coins Alert, you were right, my friend. You were right, my friend. We should have paid attention to Bitcoin and Ethereum early on. But that just shows you how fast things are moving. Take a look at this. HSB says, the timetable for crypto adoption has sped up because regulators have made rules clearer and AI has made things easier. Rich people will be made for everyone concerned. Because of the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, the time frame for crypto acceptance has, of course, shrunk. A lot is going on in this business. Now look at this, 82% of people polled by Morgan Stanley said they do not own cryptocurrencies. Dan says this bull market will not end. Little long-term risk in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Compared to 2020, all of these measures will reach new highs in terms of price and ownership during the cycle. It's my personal opinion that 2026 will be a boom year or a bullish year. From a historical point of view, that should have been a bear market start to the bear market. But as I said earlier, be careful. This is where your strategy comes into play. If you're in it for the long haul, it doesn't really matter if we see a bull market next year or not. If, on the other hand, you want to lock in gains and make money this year, you should be careful because you can't be sure if the market will continue to boom next year. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick going into Monday morning, though. If you look at the power, the reason is clear Bitcoin is falling below 111,12,000 and is now trading at 111,700. Again, it comes back to what I say every day. If we fall below 117, $115 and these levels become possible, that doesn't surprise us then. Tomorrow we'll check out what Bitcoin does. What if we can't get back above 115 this week? If not, then some of these goals and shorter time frames are definitely possible. XRP, on the other hand, is clearly worth less than 3W right now. And here we are again, pretty much going over where we were a few weeks ago. Hey, we do have some help in this range. Obviously, if this doesn't hold, prices as low as 278 could be on the table. However, having the upper hand might help us stay at these levels a little longer than normal. Again, keep an eye on Bitcoin because these goals could be tested again in the next few days if Bitcoin goes back down a little further and dominance tends to pick up a little more. Again, though, I'll make sure you guys are taken care of every day. Write your thoughts in the space below. Stay safe and have fun until next time.